As India celebrates 74 years of independence, we bring you stories of some of the women who were part of the Indian struggle for freedom. In a time and age when a strict Parda system was observed and female family members were not allowed to venture out unless accompanied by male members, several women played significant role in driving the British out of India. Coming out of their houses, they fought against the barriers of tradition, against the evils of the society, and proved that they are in no way any less than their male counterparts.
Women is the companion of man gifted with equal mental capacities. She has the right to participate in the minutest details of the activities of man, and she has the same right of freedom and liberty as he. By sheer force of a vicious custom, even the most ignorant and worthless men have been enjoying a superiority over women which they do not deserve and ought not to have. Since resistance in Satyagraha is offered through self-suffering, it is a weapon preeminently open to women. She can become the leader in Satyagraha, which does not require the learning that books give, but does require the stout heart that comes from suffering and faith.
The above mentioned extracts are taken from the Issues of Young India by Mahatma Gandhi of July 26, 1918 and January 14, 1930 respectively. In this extract, Gandhi discussed the importance of women in social revolution, reconstruction and in the nationalist struggle. He wanted the women to join the struggle for freedom at the appropriate time. Similarly, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay also tried to rouse the entire womanhood of the country to come forward to take their place in the society and in the body politic as in the equal partner of men. She said, the politics of the nation are the supreme need of humanity towards equality. It's attain the scale, the ladder of freedom. No one sex can build up a nation. Women has her own unique contribution to make for the purpose of enriching life so that it may fulfill its own divine mission to perfection. So in the struggle for freedom, they are distinct to play their legitimate role.
Thus, it can be seen from the above mentioned examples of a few leaders of the 20th century who regarded the cooperation and participation of women in the struggle for freedom very important. They encouraged their women to join the struggle in either active or in passive way. The political leaders, social reformers, and other activists appealed to the women to join the struggle and knew that without women the freedom movement could not be complete.
Responding to the calls of local and national leaders, women of different communities and from all strata of life come out to join the struggle, marches and demonstration as constructive worker participating in and often taking charge of the village reconstruction programs as worker in the cause of social economic justice, working for the removal of social evils and other from social oppressions. The highly educated and not so well educated join hand to spread literacy and develop self-reliance among the people.
However, it is a bitter truth that despite having made remarkable contributions to the Indian freedom struggle, these brave women hardly find a mention in the history books. Not belittling the role of Sarojini Naidu or Kasturba Gandhi or Kamala Nehru, there have been many other ordinary women who fought valiantly but are now forgotten, with little or no information available about them in the pages of history.
Through this video, we try to pay homage to some of these unsung women warriors.
Bhima Bai Holkar. Women's participation in the freedom struggle began as early as 1817, when Bhima Bai Holkar fought against the British colonel Malcolm and defeated him in guerrilla warfare. At a very critical time for our motherland, when the British East India Company was fast expanding its empire in India, when Tipu Sultan had been eliminated, the proud Marathas had been humbled, Chinama, the widowed queen of Raja Malla Sarja, frustrated the machinations of British to annex her kingdom Kittur, a tiny principality in the present Belgaum district of Karnataka. She fought against the mighty British army and scored initial success. Rani Lakshmibai, a name aged in history for her bravery forever. She was the queen of Maratha ruled state of Jhansi. She was the first prominent women freedom fighter who participated in the first freedom rebellion of 1857. British wanted to take over the princely state of Jhansi under the cover of doctrine of lapse. Sir Hugh Rose came to capture the city of Jhansi in March 1858, but the brave Lakshmibai announced to fight for freedom instead to surrender. Though she was defeated here and decided to leave and fight from camp at Kalpi. After Kalpi, they decided to fight from Gwalior Fort. Here, Lakshmibai with Damodar Rao, her son on her back and in cavalry attire, died after fighting bravely. Even Hugh Rose praised her bravery and commented that she is the most dangerous of all Indian leaders, which is a commendable tag. Begum Hazrat Mahal. Begum Hazrat Mahal was a great Indian freedom fighter who played a major role during India's first war of independence. She was also known as Begum of Awadh and the wife of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, ruler of Lucknow. She led a band of her supporters against the British and was even able to seize the control of Lucknow. She worked in close association with other leaders of the India's first war of independence, including Nana Sahib. Begum was not only a strategist but also fought on the battlefield. When the forces under the command of the British recaptured Lucknow and most of the part of Awadh, she was forced to retreat. When her forces lost ground, she fled Awadh and organized soldiers again in other places. She turned down all offers of amnesty and allowances by the British rulers. Finally, she took refuge in an asylum in Nepal, where she died in the year 1879. To acknowledge her endless efforts in fighting for the freedom of country, the Government of India issued a stamp on 10th May 1984. Karl Marx said about Begum that during the National Liberation Uprising of 1857 to 59 in India, headed the rebels.
Annie Besant. Annie Besant, an Irish lady, the leader of
the Theosophical Society, joined the Indian National Congress, and gave it a new direction. She was the first woman president of the Congress and gave a powerful lead to women's movement in India. She soon became a leading labor organizer, strike leader, and reformer. She also became involved in Indian nationalism and in 1916 established the Indian Home Rule League, of which she became president. She started a newspaper, New India, criticized British rule and was jailed for sedition. She got involved in political and educational activities and set up a number of schools and colleges, the most important of which was Central Hindu College and School in Banaras, which she started in 1913. Madam Bhikaiji Kama. She belonged to Parsi community and was a philanthropist and an active social worker. During the epidemic of bubonic plague that hit Mumbai in 1896, she herself got infected with the disease while providing aid to the others. Thus, she was sent to Britain for her treatment. Throughout her life, she struggled for Indian independence from abroad, as she was told by her acquaintances not to take part in freedom struggle if she comes back to India. While working as secretary to Dadabhai Nauroji, she spotted the founding of Shyamji Krishna Verma's Indian Home Rule Society. On 22nd August 1907, she unfurled the Indian flag of Indian independence, in Stuttgart, Germany, while attending the International Socialist Conference. There she made people aware of the aftermath of the famine that had hit the Indian subcontinent and raised her voice for the human rights and equality in India. She was an active freedom fighter and was later sent to exile and Europe until 1935.
Savitribai Phule. Savitribai Phule was India's first female teacher at India's first girls' school. In the 19th century, this lady, along with the support of her husband, Jyotirao Phule, rose and dared to break the traditional stereotype of the society. During the British regime, back then to educate women was considered a bad omen, but Savitribai was not that lady who would succumb to the people's criticism. Some orthodox localities used to throw stones, mud, rotten eggs, tomatoes, cow dung and dirt at her. But she still taught the girls by carrying an extra sari with her to tackle this issue. She has brought about social reform in Maharashtra and is widely acknowledged for the same through her literary works. Captain Lakshmi Sehgal. The multifaceted personality, a hidden gem in our Indian woman, Captain Lakshmi Sehgal, was not only the led India's first all-women regiment, but was also a doctor, social activist, and more. She was one who led the Rani Jhansi regiment, one of the first women contingents in the world. Born in Madras in the family of lawyers, Lakshmi always listened to her heart. It is said when untouchability was in practice in India, she went to a tribal girl, held her by hand, and requested her to play. She looked after all the patients in Kanpur and charged them a minimum fees till she was 92 years old. She received the Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian award for the undying contribution to the society.
Jhalkari Bai. We all know about Rani Lakshmi Bai. No wonder her grit and valor have been a tremendous source of inspiration for both women and men. But not many know about another such lion-hearted lady, Jhalkari Bai. Born to a Dalit family, Jhalkari was an extremely courageous woman and history states the same. She once had an encounter with a tiger in the jungle and killed it with her axe. On account states that she not only challenged a gang of dacoits who raided the house of a village but also forced them to retreat. Her remarkable resemblance to Rani Lakshmi Bai and incredible fighting tactics led her in the Durgadal. Jhalkari Bai was the one who played a very circle role in the Battle of Jhansi as she disguised herself as Rani Lakshmi Bai and took command of the army, thus giving the real queen a chance to escape in the meantime. Umabai Kundapur. Married off at the age of 9, Umabai was yet lucky as her father-in-law encouraged her to complete her studies from the Alexandra High School in Mumbai. Umabai grew up to be a part for a number of freedom fighting acts and was the founder of Bhagini Mandal. She was also the leader of women's wing of Hindustani Seva Dal. Birthplaces are like Umabai Kundapur, who shunned limelight from the beginning and refused all voluntary posts and honors that came her way. She was the one who used to provide shelter to be freedom fighters from the British. Her life and achievements are an example of a long life of unselfish service to the country.
Mulmati. Mulmati is yet another great woman, a fierce patriot who inspired the freedom struggle. She was the mother of Ram Prasad Bismil. Bismil was the one who famously formed the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association in 1928 along with the Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Ashfaqullah Khan, Rajguru and others. Mulmati was a simple lady who was unmoved with her son was hanged till death by the British rulers. On the contrary, she was proud about the fact. She also addressed a public gathering and offered her other son to the freedom movement. It is always due to such a brave mother of India that sons serve the country and do it with happiness. Uda Devi. Uda Devi and her female Dalit participant are fondly remembered as the warrior of Dalit Viranganas of 1857 Indian Rebellion. Both result in a woman. Uda Devi had a humble background. The anger of the Indian people with the British administration was at the peak when Uda Devi reached out to the Queen Begum Hazrat Mahal to enlist for war. The Begum helped Uda Devi for a women's battalion under her command to prepare for the battle that was headed their way. Uda Devi and her husband both fought bravely for the war. Based on varying account, it is claimed Devi had climbed a peepal tree from where she shot a dead 32 or 36 British soldiers. It is believed that in respect of recognition of her brave feat, British officers like Campbell had bowed their head over her dead body.
Not many might have heard this name, but she was the founding member of the Malaysian Indian Congress, belonging to a well-to-do Tamilian family. When Janki heard about Subhash Chandra Bose, appealed to give whatever they could to help in gaining Indian independence, she immediately donated her gold earrings and determined to join the women's wing in the Rani Jhansi regiment of the INA. She was among the first women to join the Indian National Army that was organized during the Japanese occupation of Malayalam to fight for the Indian independence with the Japanese. After the Second World War, she emerged as a warfare activist. She was awarded the fourth highest civilian honor of the Padma Shri in 2000 by the Indian government. Swaminathan, one of the arrogant inmates in the Vellore jail, once called a sanitary worker, Shudrachi, that is, making her caste as her identity. Amu, even though belonging to a Nair, stood up against this and sternly replied to the inmate. Amu Swaminathan was an Indian social worker and political activist during the Indian independence movement and also a member of the Constituent Assembly of India. Amu never went to school. She received only a rudimentary education at home to prepare her for married life. After her father's death, through Sambandhanam system, she was later married to Dr. Subrama Swaminathan. Under her husband's tutelage, her life transformed and blossomed. She studied, honed her skills, and transformed to be one of the prominent faces in the pre-independence struggle of India. Amu was very conscious of the arrogance of the upper caste. By all the means, she constantly tried to unsettle them by standing against it. She was also a member of the committee for drafting the Indian Constitution along with numerous social workers. She had a political career and went to Russia, China, USA and Ethiopia as a goodwill ambassador. She also served as the president of the Bharat Scouts and Guides from 1960 to 1965.
Pritilata Wadidar. Pritilata Wadidar was a revolutionary from Bengal. She was a key aide of Master Da Surya Sen. She was actively involved in the Quit India movement. In 1932, she along with others attacked and set afire the Pahartali European Club because its signboard read, "Dogs and Indians not allowed." She sacrificed her life by consuming cyanide to avoid arrest. Rani Gaidinliu. Rani Gaidinliu was a revolutionary and a Naga political leader from Manipur. She joined the freedom struggle at the age of 13. At 16, she was arrested by the British police and sentenced for life in 1932. Jawaharlal Nehru met her in Shillong jail in 1937 and promised to pursue her release. She was released post-independence.
Begum Royka had God himself intended women to be unfair. He would have ordained it so that mother would have given birth to daughter at the end of the 5th month of pregnancy. The supply of mother's milk would naturally have been half of that in case of a son. But that is not the case. How can it be? Is not God just and most merciful? This great lady was perhaps the fifth amongst the other female freedom fighters who friendly found for the general quality. Back in the time when the freedom was only a dream, she wrote novels, poems, short stories, science fiction, satires, strips, and essays, where she advocated that both men and women should be trained equally. She also emphasized the lack of education and claimed it being the main reason for women lagging behind. Kittur Rani Chinnamma. Kittur Rani Chinnamma was Indian valiant freedom fighter and was the first woman independence activist. Never the Lays being born in a small village, the present Belagavi district, Karnataka. She never fears to oppose the wrong. She belongs the
Lingayat community and was professionally trained in horse riding, sword fighting, and archery from a young age. She got married to Raja Malsarja of the Desai family at the age of 15. Rani Sinamma, after losing her husband and son, had to take over the responsibility of her kingdom as well as carry out the uphill task to save it from the British-led and arms revolution against the British East Indian Company in 1824. After the doctrine of lapse was imposed on the territory, she entirely tried her best to avoid the war, but the request was turned down. Rani Sinamma could not success in the final war, but this evoked the fire, the freedom in everyone's hearts.
Durgabai Deshmukh, she was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi and thus played an active role in Gandhi Satyagraha movement and played a role of Indian struggle, a lawyer, a social activist and a politician. She was a Lok Sabha member as well as member of Planning Commission of India. While being a member of Planning Commission, she launched a central social welfare board through which she improved the condition of education women, children, handicapped and rehabilitation of needy persons. Usha Mehta, the greatest contribution to her credit is the organization of Congress Radio, also known as Secret Congress Radio, which was an underground radio station which was active for few months during the Quit India movement of 1983. Due to this clandestine activity, she was imprisoned in Yeravda jail of Pune. She was also a follower of Mahatma Gandhi and a freedom fighter.
Kanaklata Barwa was a revolutionary from Assam who actively participated in the Quit India movement. She was shot dead by the British police in 1942. She had the tricolour high in her head till the end. She was only 70 years old when she was martyred. Bhuvneshwari Putnani was a freedom fighter and an activist from Assam. She was involved in the Quit India movement and instructed her 8 children to fight against the British when she was shot dead by the British force in 1942. She is remembered as the 60-year-old veteran. Parvati Giri was a freedom fighter and an activist from Odisha. She was 16 when she was at the forefront of Quit India movement. She was imprisoned for 2 years for an anti-British activity. After India attained independence, Giri decided her life to the welfare of orphans. She is fondly known as the Mother Teresa of Odisha.
Aruna Asaf Ali, a radical nationalist, played an outstanding role in the historic Quit India movement launched by Mahatma Gandhi on August 9, 1942, and was a prominent leader of the underground movement. She published bulletins, went from place to place, and even met Mahatma Gandhi, avoiding arrest. She edited Inqilab, a monthly journal of the India National Congress.
Kamala Nehru. Kamala Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru's wife, gave full support to her husband in his desire to work actively for the freedom struggle in the Nehru hometown of Allahabad. She organized address meeting and lot pocketing of liquor and forging clothes shops. She played a prominent part in organizing the on tax company in Unit Province, Uttar Pradesh. In the non-corporation movement of 1921, she organized groups of women in Allahabad and propagated use of khadi clothes. When her husband was arrested to prevent him delivering a seductive public speech, she wanted his place to read it out. She was twice arrested by British authorities. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, sister of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and played a crucial role in India politics. She was the first woman to become a cabinet minister. She was designated the post of Minister of Local Self-Government and Public Health. She is well known for her political and diplomatic role during the freedom struggle. Vijay Lakshmi represents India in many of the conferences abroad. She attends numerous public lectures and challenged the British dominant delegates' right to represent India during. She was a great speaker and took part in many of the freedom movement. She was arrested in 1932 and sentenced to 1 year regards imprisonment. She was arrested in 1940 and here again during the Quit India movement in 1942. She was also the first woman president of Unit National General Assembly. She was also the first woman ambassador in the world who attended the procession in their Moscow, Washington and London.
Kasturba Gandhi. Kasturba Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi's wife, joined her husband while he was in South Africa and worked with him for many years there. She was a leader of women's satyagraha for which she was imprisoned. She helped her husband in the cases of indigo work in Champaran, Bihar and the no tax campaign in Kaira, Gujarat. She was arrested twice for picketing liquor and foraging cloth shop, and in 1939 for participating in the Rajkot Satyagraha. Sarojini Naidu, had known as Cuckoo of India. She was a distinguished poet, renowned freedom fighter. Sarojini Naidu was elected as a president of India National Congress domestic meeting with another respected leader of time, Gokhale, in 1906 was to change her life forever. His response to the fiery speech brought into her life in impact of a visionary who saw in her oratory and Williams a leader of the future. The period from 1917 to 1919 was the most dynamic phase of Sarojini's career. During this time, she campaigned for the mounting charms reforms, the Khalifa issue, the Draconian Rowlatt Act and the Satyagraha. When Gandhi launched the civil disobedience movement, she proved a faithful lieutenant with great courage. She built the routers, sold proscribed literature, and addressed friends meeting on the Carnegie at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. In 1930, when Mahatma Gandhi chose her to lead the Salt Satyagraha, the story of her courage became legend. After Gandhi's arrest, she had prepared 2,000 volunteers under the scorching sun to raid the Dharsana salt work. The volunteers widely cheered when she shook off the arm of British police officer who came to arrest her and marched proudly to the barbed wire in full force. She gave up writing poetry and fully devoted herself to emancipation of women, education, Hindu-Muslim unity, etc. She became a follower of Gandhi and accompanied him to England. Whenever in England, she openly criticized British rule in India, which caught the attention of scholars and intellectuals.
Matangini Hajra. Matangini Hajra was a die-hard patriot and she is well known for her unshakable spirit. She was an Indian revolutionary who actively participated in the Indian independence movement. She also known as Gandhi Puri, meaning the old lady Gandhi. She was shot dead by the British Indian police in front of the Tumluk police station on 2090 September 1942. Her contribution toward the country have been commendable in spite of having tragic personal life. During the involvement of Quit Indian movement, 71 years old, Matangini led the procession of 6,000 supporters. She was shot repeatedly by the police, but she chanted Vande Mataram till her last breath and held the Indian flag high up.
Sucheta Kriplani. India's first women chief minister, Sucheta Kriplani, chartered her own independent course. She was committed to the Gandhian ideology. Sucheta was fearless in her mind and spirit. She was born in Ambala, Punjab, now in Haryana, to a Bengali Brahmin family. She completed her education at Indraprastha College and Punjab University prior to becoming a professor of constitutional history at Benares Hindu University. She came to the forefront during the Quit India movement. She worked with other Gandhians during the partition riots and was one of the few women who were elected to the Constituent Assembly and was part of the subcommittee that drafted the Indian Constitution. Sucheta also became a part of the subcommittee that laid down the charter for the Constitution of India.